and 3. All right, welcome to You Talk Sports. It's day 2 of March Madness, and there have been upsets galore, and there's sure to be even more upsets tonight. Here in You Talk Sports, we're going to be covering all the games as they are happening live. Picture the NFL Red Zone channel. If you ever watch that for football, that's what we're doing for March Madness, only we're doing it here on Zoom, broadcasting onto YouTube. And so we're going to be bringing you all the highlights. We're going to be taking takes from the fans. You can see we've got a panel of fans that are here. And if you'd like to come join us live on YouTube, if you'd like to join us from YouTube onto Zoom, just comment in YouTube saying Zoom and we'll drop you the Zoom link. This is the talk show where you get to be in the show. I'm excited to get to hear takes from fans around the horn because there's been so many upsets. Will, let's start with you. What's really caught your eye that we haven't talked about yet in terms of what's happening with your bracket?
My bracket's done. I had Kentucky. I actually thought this was the year Kentucky was going to make it. So they screwed me again, as always. But I had San Diego State making the Final Four. So if that happens, that would be nice. And it's playing out that way, I think, now that Auburn lost.
In terms of what's happening? That's right. That really opens the door for San Diego State. Let's put I just put the link here into the chat here. Let's go over to the YouTube chat and put in there who we picked to win it all. And I'll start with putting my pick in there. UNC was my pick to win it all. So was Bobby's. So we're still alive in Tar Heel Nation here. I'm kicking myself for not picking NC State. I really loved their run during the ACC tournament. I love watching that team, but I felt like they maybe were going to be out of gas and didn't go with with them. And things are wide open for them in that bracket now too, with all the upsets that have been there. Let's hear next from Martin. Martin, tell us where you're joining us from and how's your bracket looking?
Yeah, I'm joining y'all from Fort Worth, Texas. Go Frogs, let's go. Um, but yeah, my bracket's actually not doing too bad. Uh, Washington State really was one of those. I thought Drake was going to pull it out, unfortunately for them. And then, of course, Auburn Yale, man. Auburn Yale really messed it up. But yeah, otherwise, I've hit on a couple of the upsets I thought were going to happen.
Well,
Duquesne.
and the Frogs, right? That's TCU, right?
Yeah, let's go. We got Utah
I have to,
State coming tonight.
yeah, this should be a high scoring game, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love this year's team. We really do have a knack for countering. So, I'm excited to see what Utah has in store to defend that and how we counteract it.
Yeah, and I picked TCU to beat Purdue. I was just really honestly going to pick whoever Purdue played to beat Purdue because I don't like Purdue. And you guys fell into the right spot. And then I started looking at the matchups, and I'm like, oh, they got the guards to be able to do this. So I'll be right with you, especially tonight. We'll be keeping an eye on that game here tonight as well. We're also going to be drafting fantasy football tonight. We play that over on
Yeah, let's go.
underdog.com. I'll drop a special link in there if you guys don't have Underdog so that you can get signed up for Underdog. And they'll, when you use this link, they match your first $100. So basically you'll be able to play along for free in the tournament we're going to be drafting tonight. So that's going to be a lot of fun, as well as keeping an eye on all these games. Let's hear next from Cole. Cole, tell us where you're joining us from and how's your bracket looking?
Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm joining from Indiana. Not a huge Purdue fan, but hoping they can get the dub tonight. And my bracket doesn't look too bad. I would say the one that killed me the most was I had Samford going pretty far and McNeese State in my other bracket going pretty far. So I chose some underdogs to go to the Sweet 16 that just, didn't get a first round dub.
Yeah, I mean, Sanford, they almost came back in that game last night. I was really enjoying watching that and thought they were going to pull it off. But, Kansas, that big guy, Dickinson for Kansas, if he was out, it would have been all over. But as soon as they said he was playing, I quickly changed my bracket back to Kansas for that. But I don't have them going very far. I don't like that whole bracket down there with Kansas and Gonzaga. None of those teams I really wanted to pick, and they're kind of forcing me to. So I'll put the link here. If anyone needs to sign up for an account for Underdog, go ahead and do that while we're getting everyone introduced. I'll put the link there to sign up so that you can play with us. If you already have an Underdog account, fantastic. Obviously, it's not available in every state, but would love to play along. And whether you're able to play along or not, that's going to be part of our analysis. We'll essentially pick the team together here tonight. All right. Let's hear next from Grateful. Am I saying it right? Grateful Edmund.
Hey, how you doing? That's my nickname. My name is Edmund Gray, but everybody calls me Grateful Edmund. So on the internet, it's pretty easy to find. How are you guys doing?
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Favorite team? Long story short, I'm a Washingtonian, as in DC Cowboys fan. So when it comes to the NCAA tournament, I actually live in Raleigh now. So I got to go for NC State. I literally live like walkable from NC State. So it's really just like a fan favorite type of thing. I just hope they do well, which is even blasphemous because once again, my name is Edmund Gray. I have a relative that plays for NC State football named Cedric Gray. He's going pro this year. So it's like blasphemous not to even root for anything's Tar Heels, but I just want NC State to win something. It's been since what, 1983, Jimmy Val. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, it's just about time. Because in this state, if you're not from North Carolina, they're like the orphan team, so to speak. You know, you're always talking about Duke and North Carolina. It's like it's time for NC State to win something again and then get back to the top of the mountain with the DJs and everybody else they have. It's just that time again. As far as my bracket, because I don't want to go too long, sucks. I can't tell you I've been doing super great on my bracket. I had Clemson going. Baylor, that was pretty much an easy pick. But when you get to these 8 and these 9 picks, that's when it gets like very difficult. It's kind of like it reminds me of the NBA when you're dealing with a 4 and a 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that can really go either way, and then we're only talking one game. So you know, as opposed to a 7-game series, that's what I mean by one game. So it's like it's very very hard to pick these 8s and the 9s. So you know, Michigan State kind of messed me up because I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to go with Mississippi State just because they're 8, and then, you know, that bites you in the butt. So it is what it is.
Well, I love that you're here from the Raleigh area. My parents are retired in Cary, so I spend a lot of time visiting the Raleigh area and yeah, watch a lot of ACC basketball because of them. My dad has adopted the local team, you know, which is state. Everybody in that area seems to be from state. I remember the first time I went to a sports bar in Raleigh. I'm like, what's with all the Russell Wilson fans? Like, why did everyone from Seattle move here or something? And they're like, no, he played for state. I'm like, no, he didn't. He played for Wisconsin. They're like, yes, he did. We had our 1 year with him where we beat Clemson. I'm like, wow, like you guys really haven't done much in a while. If that's all you're still.
North Carolina quarterbacks in general just get like a bad rep, but we'll save that for another conversation.
Yes, exactly. All right. I think we heard from everyone in terms of how our brackets are doing. Duke seems to be pulling away here. So coming up next here is going to be that TCU game. I took the over in that tonight as well as my pick of the night. And let's have everyone go ahead and put into the YouTube chat next what your pick of the night is, if you have one. Not everyone, you know, is into betting. We're not a betting show, but it's a fun way to kind of document, you know, who we are picking and what games we like. So TCU has been on my eye all day. I've been waiting for this game to tip off in terms of both their sleeper pick of mine, but also because I think this game is definitely going over tonight. So let's see. Also tipping off is Wisconsin and James Madison. Anybody pick James Madison in that one? You know, they were a trendy sleeper pick by, I think some of the analysts were picking them to the Sweet 16. They were on my list of teams to watch, but when they drew Wisconsin, I kind of backed off.
I picked them. I picked James Madison. I picked James Madison because I coached in Virginia and they got a kid, Xavier Brown. and he's a really good kid, and I like the way he plays. He plays with a lot of energy. He kind of reminds me a lot of Rondo,
Mm.
uh, how he plays. He was just a really nice kid. He really strong. So I was like, I gotta ride with Xavier Brown because it's personal.
Awesome. Yeah, I love hearing that. It's one of our favorite segments is kind of getting the hometown scoop into a lot of these teams. We've had a lot of great insights. I was all about picking Nebraska and because I saw they had this Asian guy shooting three-pointers and then we had somebody on the show, a Big Ten guy, Alex isn't here tonight, but he was like, "Oh no, their road record is terrible. I've seen them play my Wisconsin team. They're gonna go down." And sure enough, they got slaughtered by A&M. It was also really interesting to hear David from the Big 12. He lives in Houston, and he's like, Houston doesn't have a closer. They don't have a Marcus Sasser. They don't have the guy they've had in past years. They are a great team, great defense. But who's going to hit the big shot in Big 12? So getting these hometown insights has really helped with our brackets, and it's helped with our betting, and just makes it a lot of fun too to get insights here that we can't get on normal shows. So I'd love to go around the horn and just see if anybody has a hometown take. Let's start with Martin. If you don't have one, by all means, we don't need one, and they can be someone a player that's unknown. Doesn't have to be college basketball. One of my favorite stories was a person from North Carolina telling us how Caleb Love and RJ Davis were dating the same girl. Have you heard this one? This is why the team fell apart last year and didn't make the tournament. And they've set up the brackets where Arizona could wind up playing UNC. Like that would be like made for TV drama. Those kinds of stories really make the show fun. Martin, anything from your hometown?
Yeah, so my hometown's Atlanta, but I went to TCU for school and I got a chance to watch Josh Hoover play last season. And it's a little early for football season, college football season, but watch out for him. I think he's gonna have a better progression than Duggan did. Because Duggan's progression, he found his way only in like the last 2 years of him being there. And so Josh Hoover's coming in, and I think that he has a little bit more raw talent than Duggan. And I think that he's going to adjust a little bit quicker, especially, with Duggan, it was new coach and Gary Patterson, as much of a traitor as he is for going to Texas and going to Baylor. Yeah, I think that
What would you
Dykes
say
and
is
him
the
are going to
ceiling
grow.
for the team this year? Is a conference title in the goal, or?
I think we could get to the conference game for sure. I don't think we'll meet that 13-1 record we had a couple years ago. But yeah, no, I think that 3 or 4 loss season, make it to the conference game, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, it'll be because the playoffs will be much more wide open this year, and that would be amazing to see TCU in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, yet again. Hey,
We got the scoop
it's
here.
coming for us. It's soon.
We
Soon
got the
we'll hold that
scoop here.
trophy.
All right. Let's go next to Ashante. Anything from a hometown scoop you can give us?
Uh, Scoop wise, not really. I mean, San Francisco safety Jair Brown. We both went to the same high school. He's a great kid. I met Isaiah Pacho. I think I said his last name right. I met Isaiah Pacho. He's from Jersey as well. At a party. He's a really cool guy. I'm short, so they're short, but they're all taller than me. But they both were super nice. They're super cool. I don't know if anybody remember Malachi Richardson. Uh, he went to the rival school to my school, so I saw him a lot in high school. He was a monster then, like he was at Syracuse. But it's not really a lot of inside scoop when it comes to
Yeah.
Jersey. We just
What
make
about
it out if we can make
what
it
have
out.
you heard about Rutgers recruiting class for next year for hoops? Any insights there? Like how are they getting these kids suddenly?
As far as the recruiting class, I think what it really boils down to is people just want to they're selling staying home. That's what they're selling. They're selling staying home and building Rutgers back up to what it used to be by using like Isaiah and players like that as a talking point. Because of course they went to Rutgers, they stayed home. So it's nothing too big or too serious. They just using it as a selling point of staying home. That's it.
Well, but for basketball, they've signed two of the top 10 basketball recruits in the country for next year. And so
That one I don't know how to do that.
that makes me think they must be offering them some big NIL deals or something. Is there a big sponsor on campus there? Is there like one or a couple is there like a main brand that's paying everybody? Which is totally legal these days.
No, it's like two or three different ones. They're not big brands, but they're big brands. That's really it though. It is the NIL that's allowing them to be able to get some of those top recruits there.
Yeah. Cool, cool. Love it. Love getting a Rutgers insight. Isaiah Pacheco, one of my favorite players to watch, right? That guy just runs hard. Let's see. I saw Brady has hopped up onto the show. Welcome, Brady. Tell us where you're joining from and who your favorite teams are and how your bracket's looking.
I'm from Atlanta, and the bracket's looking a little rough. Had Kentucky in the Final Four, so that one hurt. Had Auburn in the Sweet 16.
Oof.
But other than those two, I got like through the first day, everything was going smooth until Kentucky, and then everything just collapsed.
The SEC, man. Did you take Mississippi State too? Did they let you down too?
No, I had Michigan State in that one. That's
Yeah, never go against Michigan State. I thought that was one of the most no-brainer pick 'em games of all time. Like Michigan State just always seems to play great in the tournament. So awesome to have another Atlanta person here and another SEC person here. Any hometown scoops that you can give us?
I mean, University of Georgia, that's the big thing here. So I mean, I had season tickets to their football games, and I met Nick Chubb. I know I've hung out with Aaron Murray 3 or 4 times, the old Georgia quarterback. Mostly just the
Nick
Georgia
Chubb, what
play.
can you tell us about Nick Chubb? Is he coming back to Cleveland? Is there any word on that or
I think I think he's gonna stay with Cleveland. I mean, the division's tough, but I think they have a bright future I mean, they got Jerry Jeudy now, Amari Cooper, Chubb, Deshaun, solid O-line, good defense, but I don't know if they'll be able to beat Baltimore, but I think Chubb will stay with Cleveland for at least 2 or 3 more years.
Yeah, he's got a big salary cap number, and they just signed another running back to the roster, Donta Foreman. To me, that might be a sign that that Chubb's on his way out, unless he's going to take a big pay cut.
I think they need someone to like nowadays in the NFL, you never want to give like 100% carries to like one guy or he'll last like a couple years. So like I think now that I don't know what Kareem Hunt's gonna be doing, but like I think they need another guy to like take the load off of him.
Yeah, I think they didn't bring Hunt back. He's getting a little old now, but they have Jerome Ford in the mix there too. And we'll talk more about fantasy as we football as we get going. All right, let's see. Who haven't we heard from in this segment? Cole, did you give us your hometown take?
Yeah, nothing really going on. I think there's a big buzz going around in the city between the Pacers finally potentially getting home court advantage in the playoffs. The Colts just got a new quarterback that's exciting. Caitlin Clark's going to be on the Fever probably, and Purdue's a 1 seed in the tournament. So I think we're excited about just a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, I mean that's Caitlin Clark coming to town. It'll be interesting to see, if she continues to build the popularity of women's sports. She's done amazing things for college basketball, and if that carries over to the WNBA or not will be kind of the next step of it all. How's the fan base up for the WNBA in Indiana? Is that a team that people support and talk about?
Yeah, we've been atrocious in the last couple of years. Like we're getting Caitlin Clark for a reason. I think we won like 4 or 5 games this year, maybe 3 the year before. So I've actually been to a double WNBA finals game when we played the Mercury back in the day, and it was a loud atmosphere. So I think that if Caitlin comes here and we actually have a good record and maybe make the playoffs, I think it would be a good turnout for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see, what she can do for women's sports. I'm excited to see her take the WNBA to the next level. They need something. I don't know why it's the college basketball for women has been on the rise, but it hasn't spilled into the WNBA yet. So hopefully she's the one that can do that. All right. I'm just trying to find on TV here it is, the TCU game here. What else is still coming on? Alabama, Charleston, that's winding down, right? And flipping through all the channels here. Oh, St. Mary's is still to play tonight.
You guys probably already talked about it on another podcast, but the women's tickets are actually selling more than the men's. So that's really, really big. So what I can't figure out is why people don't go to the WNBA games, because these same girls just go pro. So it's like, so at some point, hopefully Caitlin, brings her fan base with her to the WNBA so we can stop having this debate about what's going on with their seat count. So
It don't translate like it should. The last year, the women's game after the draft, half of those draft picks got cut. They didn't have a lot of space to keep them. A lot of the veterans stayed, so a lot of those picks got cut. I mean, I think only 8 remained, if that, out of the 30 that was picked. So, I mean, Caitlin Clark is definitely going to be there next year. She's going to bring a lot to Indiana. But it's just more about having space to keep those other girls so that those fan bases can cross over. Hopefully they do that this year.
Yeah, let's do while we're on the topic of women's hoops, this is a good topic to put into the YouTube chat here. So I'll drop that link here again. Let's have everyone put into the YouTube chat who they are picking to win the women's tournament. I'll be honest, I didn't fill out a bracket for the women's game. I was too busy with the men's game. So I'm just going to pick Iowa and Caitlin Clark. I'll be rooting for her. I hope she gets there. I heard that she has LSU in her bracket. And that it's going to be pretty tough for her to get there. Surprisingly, I'm hearing a lot of buzz about USC and some of their players in the women's game this year. And of course, the South Carolina is always the favorite there. Let's hop over to the YouTube chat and just see what everyone's saying here. We've got some people picking South Carolina. A lot of us rooting for Iowa. I wish they would give Iowa a path to the Final Four the way they gave Purdue here. It seems like the league has their players and their teams they want to see make it. Let's hop over and look at the scoreboard too, and just see if there's anything that we want to focus in on. Whenever any of the games are kind of coming down to the last minute here, we'll be pulling those up, listening to the audio, watching the highlights, and focusing in on those games. Right now, it looks like
Alabama was going to struggle for a second, but they never did. Alabama, it looked like it was going to be a decent game at first, but they just blew them out of the water.
Yeah, as far as representing the SEC here, we got Alabama and Tennessee that have done well so far. And Alabama's another one that you guys on this show kind of convinced me that they just have the athletes to blow Charleston away. And I changed my pick for that one as well. New Mexico is a team that I fell in love with watching them in their conference tournament. So I picked them all the way through to the final 8 to lose to North Carolina, and they're out now in the first round. That's been my biggest blunder so far. I think I had Kentucky also going to the final 8. So lots of dead spots. So you know what you have to do, right? When your team gets knocked off, you have to start cheering for the underdog, like the low-seeded team, to keep winning. Because if they keep winning, then nobody else is earning any points in that bracket either. And you can kind of neutralize your team getting knocked off. So you don't have to totally give up just because, you had one Final Four or even, a team from the championship knocked out again. Of course, if you're like me, we have put in 25 different brackets. And that's how many ESPN allows you to do. Why not use all of those? All right, so this is good timing while we're kind of in between games right now to talk some fantasy football. And I love to play fantasy football. I love playing it all year round. This is a particularly fun time to play. And the site that I play on is underdog.com. I'm going to pull that up and kind of show you guys how Underdog works. So Underdog has a sports betting app, but it's separate than this fantasy football app. In this app, the Underdog app, you can do player props, you can do fantasy drafts, and this has been legal in North Carolina, for example. Where sports betting wasn't legal until just this week, but Underdog has always been legal. And so a lot of times, you might think, oh, we don't have sports betting in my state. Well, you should check to see if you can do Underdog, because in North Carolina, for example, where I was spending every summer, had it, and did not have sports betting. So this is the lobby for their fantasy football drafts. Let me refresh this here and pull up the tournament that we're gonna look to play in tonight. I hope they didn't just change things tonight. They always have had a tournament here. You can see these are all drafts that I have pending right now. I enjoy playing in a lot of these. I'm trying to go back. Here's the tournaments.
Was everybody good to get in? Or the people who wanted to?
Yeah, if you need the link to sign up for Underdog, I'll put that in the chat again, both on Zoom and on YouTube. And again, if you sign up with that link, they match your $100 deposit. So essentially you get $100 to play for free. Let me put that link in the YouTube chat. Thanks for reminding me of that, Will, so that we can all play along in there. I'm not seeing the tournament on this. I usually use it on my phone. So let me just check to see if
I
it's.
see like an NFL rookie and sophomore one from the link you sent, and then a pre-draft best ball. But I think you're looking for something different, right?
Yeah, actually, this is it, the big board. So this is the one that we're going to play tonight and that I recommend. So it's $10 entry, $2 million prize pot. 220,000 people have entered, and it's a lot of fun to play. So let's go over the rules for that as to how. Has anybody else played it and wants to kind of give us their take on it? Cole, why don't you give us just so I'm not doing all the talking here, kind of give people an overview of it if they've never played it before.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know how this particular tournament works. I think it's only 4 rounds. It's not a full season like some of these, but they put in lineups for you. So you start a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, and a flex. So if you draft 7 receivers, let's say, they're going to put in the receivers that do the best in the 3 receiver slot. And obviously, if you've never played before, flex is just all the skill positions put together. I like it. I did this past year for the first time, and you don't have to pay attention to it. You can kind of just look at it like Tuesday or Wednesday to see where you are in the standings for your league. I think it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see how we draft, if we're drafting together, or see who sucks at drafting if we're drafting separately.
Yeah, it'd be fun if all of us get in the league and kind of stay in touch. So just to kind of go on what Cole was saying there. So it's what's called a best ball league. And so what that means is you draft your team. We'll draft the team tonight. And you don't have to put in your lineups. There's no free agency. There's no trades. Basically, you draft a team and then you're done. But it does play out the whole NFL regular season, just like regular fantasy football would. And each week, your team compiles points. There's no head-to-head play. It's like rotisserie style play. You just get points from your players, and the computer takes your best player. Right. So sometimes a guy that you might avoid in real life, like a fantasy, like Gabe Davis, right? He's real hot and cold. That's actually good in best ball because he gets a low score. The computer's going to pick your better guy. If he gets a good score, the computer's going to pick that guy, right? The same thing, like if you have two or three quarterbacks, whichever one has the best game, the computer's going to start that one. So it's designed to be low maintenance, just to have fun drafting with it. And it's a lot of fun. It is since there's no free agency, it's a 20-round draft. So it goes really far. Basically you're taking every player's, every player's, like all the starters, kind of all the backups, and it lists them all there. One of the nice things is it has what's called the ADP, the average draft position. See if I can pull that up and show you guys this. So, and you can kind of lean on this if you haven't, most people haven't done a lot of research by this point. And again, it's not us playing against each other. It's us playing against the 200,000 people for the $2 million prize pot. The top 5,000 people win money in this. So there's good chance to win money in it. And I've won a lot of money in this over the past 2 years. This will be my third year playing it. And it's a lot of fun. And so the ADP, this is a great way for you to learn about fantasy football for your other leagues you might be in by looking at where players are being picked in the ADP, in the average draft position, right? And so you'll always, when you log in, you'll kind of always have this here as far as who who's normally picked in this spot. And you can just kind of skim through who normally goes around here and then just pick the best guy from that area, right? If you don't have a player in mind of who you would want to pick. Wide receivers tend to be at a premium in best ball and tend to get drafted first. In traditional fantasy football, maybe you've always built around a running back. Usually, to not take a quarterback right away, to like wait on a quarterback. That's pretty standard fantasy football strategy. But in best ball, it's the same thing with running backs. Especially on underdog. And part of it is like receivers just tend to have like those big 20 to 30 point games or not, right? So you want to have as many of those big play receivers as you can. And a running back who gets you a steady 15 points a week, that's not as good as a receiver who gets, boom or bust. So that's why receivers are valued higher in this. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to play. And we'll come up with some strategies for how we can play. So let's use the Zoom show of hands if you have an underdog account and want to have your own team and play tonight. So Will has one, Martin has one, Cole has one. Ashanti, you have an underdog account already? Okay, awesome. So it's 4 and myself is 5. Edmund, you have one, and Brady, you have one too. Okay, cool. And so then Alex, let's see here. Let me lower this here. No, it's just Jeremiah. Jeremiah and I will play together on our team. We'll kind of alternate picks because I think they don't have it legal. You were saying right where you are. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's all pull up underdog, and we want to try to get into the same draft. And ideally we can time it right. And again, the one that we're looking for is the one I was just showing there, NFL. I really want to have it up on the computer here, not on my phone. Right, big board.
Are you doing the 30-second per pick?
Yeah. Yeah, because we want to keep in mind that, so this is it here, big board, if everyone can see this, right? NFL pre-draft, best ball. Don't join it yet. See this green line here? This shows you how many people are already in it.
I'm
And
not seeing it, Greg. Is it NFL pre-draft best ball 2024?
yes, it's called the
And
big board.
then how many people?
No, we're not doing, you're not in the right spot if you're choosing by people.
Oh, okay.
Come back to the main lobby. Are you on a computer or your phone?
A computer.
Okay, so on the computer, you want to click on, like you're seeing on my screen, watch here on Zoom, the lobby on the left.
No, you're not sharing it.
You're not seeing the screen? Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So lobby is here, and you want to come across here to this one, but don't join it yet.
All right, let me get there.
Does everybody else have that spot up? And it's kind of where we are. Okay, cool. And we're watching this green line here. So this will fill up probably in the next few minutes. And while it's once it clears and goes back to here, then we'll all jump in here together. And we'll see how that works. It'll be interesting to see having multiple people like this play in it before. And
And then it's a big board one, right?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yep, not the biggest board. That one's $100 to play. The big board here. Does anybody have any questions about drafting this? So it's the starting lineup is quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and a tight end. There's no kickers or defenses. And
Greg, what do you think about the flex or a double flex? In one of my leagues, I have a QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end flex as well, instead of having a kicker, just because, at this day, kickers can either win you your game or lose you your game. So
yeah. I mean, it's so lucky, right? The whole game is luck to begin with, but kickers and defenses are especially lucky. All my offline leagues still use a kicker and a defense. You're when you add in the second quarterback, like it significantly changes, how you play the game. And the quarterbacks all get taken right away. Even the backup quarterbacks get taken, right? It's something like you have to kind of get in tune with if you're gonna play it. But it's fun, right? It's fun to have different variations of,
oh yeah, it's been super fun. I mean, it's funny to have like Sam Howell and Patrick Mahomes on the same team, because someone will take Patrick Mahomes and be like, "Oh yeah, this is great. I got him. I got my guy." And then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I forgot to draft a second quarterback."
Yeah, exactly. Well, and
This
you'll
is
have
way
like
more
those guys like Sam Howell are like first or second round picks, over stud running backs and wide receivers. And that's if people are not used to that could be kind of hard to evaluate. That's probably what I don't like about it, is that you have those, those backup quarterbacks are just so valuable. But in the flip side of like real fantasy, even like this, the quarterback is like not so valuable, right? Like everybody waits on taking a quarterback in this kind of league. So another fun thing is a keeper league, a dynasty league. Has anybody ever played in one of those?
Mhm. I've been doing one.
Yeah,
for
I've been in a dynasty league for 13 years now.
Oh, cool. Give us how do you guys do yours, Jeremiah? Give us kind of an overview of how yours works.
We have a 22 roster spots for bench and total of who's playing. We keep 19 of the 22 and have a 3-round draft each year just for the incoming rookies.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So it's like very similar to the real NFL draft.
Yes, we try to keep it as close as we can. I'm afraid everybody's going to quit my league because I'm too dominant. I got 5 of the top 9 projected running
Well,
backs.
that's a problem with keeper leagues, right? And if you lose even one team, like nobody wants to take over the last place team. So it can be that can be a hard thing to do. I play in a keeper league with my buddies from college. We started it in 1995. So if you can imagine the players that have been kept and that have kind of lived through that. And we've had to kind of tweak the rules over the years to keep it competitive. Because it's also like in the way you're doing it, Jeremiah, it's very like the top team will almost always be on top. It's very hard for anyone else to have a chance next year. It takes several years to kind of,
to build.
To rebuild like that, right? Which I don't know if that's as fun. The best part of a keeper league is that you have a lot more trades, because some people are playing to win now and some people are playing to win in the future. So you have different goals, so you can actually make trades. In leagues where everyone's playing to win now, it's almost impossible to make trades because you basically are trying to get one over on someone, you know, or, in order to for trading to really work. So what we do in our keeper league, you keep your top three. Everyone keeps their top three players, and you have the option to keep two more. But if you keep those 4 and 5, you give up your first and second round pick in the redraft. And then what we also have is we call it a taxi squad. And this is 3 players you can designate on that don't count towards the 3 to 5 you might rekeep. Right. So what'll happen is if my team's like out of it by halfway through the season, you have to designate your players for the taxi squad by a certain cutoff point. Usually it's about 60% of the season, and then you can't use those players anymore. So I'll put those guys up there, and that'll mean I'll have those 3 guys for next year, right? Plus my 3 I'm keeping. Whereas if you're trying to win now this year, Jeremiah, you want all your bench. So you can't really put good guys on your taxi squad because you're trying to win now. You might put rookies up there. So those people you put up there are not going to be as good if you're trying to win now. So it's just another way to try to even the playing field so that one team doesn't stay, you know, dominant for decades and then people quit and drop out.
Hey, before we
As-
start the draft,
You're
I'm
good.
sorry. Can somebody give me the positions in order in this particular draft again?
Yeah, let's look at the positions. I didn't realize you guys weren't seeing the screen when I did the rankings here. So this is what it'll look like inside the draft. This is what it'll look like. These are the positions, quarterback, and there's no order that you draft them in, right? You most of the time you're going to draft your quarterback and tight end later. And this is this ADP. I guess this wasn't showing when I was talking about it. So this shows you this is the average draft
It's
position.
still not showing. Something's up with your share screen button.
Really interesting. Let's go.
There we go. I got it now.
Yeah. So here's the positions, right? You start 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and then a flex can be any of these 3. And this is the order that people normally get drafted in. So you can kind of use this as your guide for who to pick. And this is what it looks like. Let's go back over to the drafts and just see if that league has cleared and started yet. Yeah, and then let's go through this just all the rules for this while we're here. So you play out the regular season, and then they have kind of a tournament with playoffs. This is kind of the prize breakdowns here, as far as who's winning what. And also all the rules are here as far as how the playoffs work. Basically the top, so the 12 of us we don't play head to head against each other each week, but the 12 of us would play off, the 12 of us that draft together. And then it's the top 2 teams at the end of the 14-week regular season, just like fantasy football, progress to the next week, which is week 15. And then the top 2 teams kind of progress all the way through to the end again. That's how they do the tournament style playoffs. While we're here, let's check in around the league and just see if there's any scores that we want to look at. Our TCU game has not tipped off yet.
Yeah, I think that tips off in 4 minutes.
4 more minutes to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the schedule seems to be pushed back a bit from some of these overtime games. Oh, FAU, they were another big disappointment for me today. I'm from Florida, and they were such a fun team last year. I really thought that they could turn it on during the tournament. And they got that game to overtime somehow. They played absolutely terrible. And still got into overtime, and then they just couldn't even beat Northwestern. That didn't look like a great Northwestern team at all.
Can I talk about my crazy bracket?
Yeah, your elimination pool.
Yep, it's the worst it's ever been.
Well, tell
So,
everyone how it works first, in case some
You
people
pick
it's new to
one
people.
team a day, and you can't repick them. And once you pick them, once you lose, you're out. So you can only pick one team a day. When you are Like, and then once you pick them, you can't pick them again. And if they lose, you're just done. So usually only like 30% of people get kicked out. We have over half of the people out, which is crazy. A lot of people lost with BYU, which looking back, that was kind of a stupid pick. Like BYU was primed for an upset if you just did a little bit of research. So I am kind of in bad shape. I picked Duke and Creighton, so I kind of got two really good teams, I think.
Well,
So we'll
but
see.
they both for today. You picked two for today. They both won
No,
today, right?
Duke yesterday or whatever, or Creighton yesterday and Duke today.
Oh, okay. And they both won. So
Mhm. So I'm good.
you made it through. You just can't use them anymore, right?
Yeah. Somebody had Dayton and Clemson. I think they're in the best position.
Hmm.
But you just gotta win.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, Dayton was a risky pick. I don't even think I had them winning their first
It
round.
was a parent who doesn't even know sports, which is frustrating. Those people are always annoying. They went to Dayton.
Yeah, we always kind of get the people that don't know what they're doing, win the March Madness.
Tomorrow's the first hard day though. Tomorrow's the first day I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's right. So, maybe we can give you some
I'm
insights.
avoiding Illinois at all costs. I don't even mention them. Either Iowa State or I hate to say it, but NC State.
NC State, I mean, I guess they have a lower seed team they're playing, right? Because of the upsets.
Anyone have any thoughts?
Yeah, so you get this, right? It's kind of like an NFL elimination pool. So you have to pick the team that's going to win tomorrow, no point spreads or anything. You pick a team that's for sure going to win tomorrow, but you can't use them again. Right. So you don't want to pick, UNC yet, or else you'll have no one left to pick when you get to the Final Four and UNC is in the Final Four. So you got to pick the team that you know for sure is going to win, but that you think is not really going to advance that far.
Well, I would look at that San Diego State Yale game that's going on. San Diego looks shaky against UAB, so I'd love to see
I'm
maybe
planning
you
on
take
actually
Yale on
picking
that.
them Sunday. That's
Yeah,
my
one of
team for
those two.
Sunday, man. Like
Well, that game's on Sunday, right? Because they
Oh,
played today.
Monday.
I like Arizona tomorrow.
I mean, Arizona's like a Final Four team though, but I might have
Do you
to go
think
with
so?
them because they're the
If you
only
think
lock.
so,
They're
I think
elite.
Arizona's the only lock tomorrow, in my mind.
Well, they got
I
to get
don't.
well, you
through
need to keep winning.
UNC. I mean,
Well, yeah, UNC for sure, but I wouldn't want to use them yet.
Well, I don't know. Do you trust them against Michigan State?
hey, by tomorrow, every game's going to be a good game.
The spread is only like 2 points.
Yeah, I would pick the team. I would pick the team that you think is least likely to lose and not worry about saving them because you may never get to tomorrow. It's like when a team has like to save your timeouts till the end of the game, but if it's third and long and you don't have the right play, like you might never get to the end of the game.
I've lost out because I couldn't pick a team the last 2 years, which is so annoying. I made it to the sweet Elite Eight and I couldn't pick a team.
Oh, because you'd already used.
Horrible. And I had to pick some team that I thought knew was gonna lose. So we'll see. I'm worried because I think Duke is gonna make a run.
Duke?
I wish I took Baylor. I thought Baylor had a chance of losing, but they weren't even close.
I did not think Duke looked good today or all year, really.
We'll see.
What makes you think they're going to make a run? Does anyone else see Duke making a run?
They just have a lot of talent,
Right.
man. They've got seniors who are really good.
Yeah, they do have a lot of talent, but
Jeremy Roach. I thought Roach looked good.
I'm starting to think their coach doesn't know what he's doing, because they have had the talent now.
I gotta ask Jeremiah about Kentucky now. We had to bring it up.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with them, man. I think they run into really, really hot teams. I hate to say it. I think the past few losses, they've ran into a team that looked really good. Like, I don't know. Like, Oakland could have beaten a lot of teams, I think.
No,
The
they
way
couldn't
they
miss
played.
last night, but still, we were way more talented. And I thought at halftime when we were down 1 or 2 is close, I was like, all right, we got that out of our system. We're gonna come out and dominate, and it just didn't happen. I mean, it's poor coaching. Again, let's keep Calipari as a recruiter. Find someone who can coach the X's and O's during a game, especially making in-game adjustments.
Yeah,
I'm tired
he's
of it.
not
I
gonna he's
expect
not
more.
gonna give that up though. He thinks he's good at it, doesn't he?
I know he does. And I'm just, that's supposed to be the team I root for that wins for me. Being a Bengals and Reds fan for so long, there's been a lot of losing. This is supposed to be my saving grace each year, and it's not been recently.
I don't know if it matters, but I think the players love him. Like, I don't think that matters at all. But I think the players I listened to their press conference last night. They really like Coach Cal, which is kind of
Because their
surprising.
high draft picks get paid a lot of money, but we're not winning. We're not winning anything, and
Mhm.
that's what we used to do here.
Yeah, I almost wonder if that's like always the goal, right? I feel like it's the goal is just as much about getting him drafted and like whereas a lot of teams like winning a championship clearly is the goal, at UNC and Kansas and Kentucky. I feel
Yep.
like there's more than one goal. And anytime you have other goals, like your championship goal is going to start to not get all the attention that it should get.
Yep, absolutely.
And what about, do you think you guys should continue with the one and done? Is that
I mean, I saw a press conference right after the game where he was even questioning himself about that. He's thinking maybe the other teams are getting older. He says he should keep a few older guys and stick with the young superstars as well. But
yeah.
I mean, he was just talking out of his ass, to be honest. He's saying the average age of teams we're playing is 24 and 25 years old. I'm thinking, Cal, you ain't that good at math, buddy. I mean, they ain't that old.
Well, they
They're
had
older
two,
than us, but they're not that old.
they
I
had
think
two seniors that started, which surprised me. Like Austin Reeves was a senior. He's been around for a while, or whatever his
Austin
name
is,
is.
but then there's like 4, 5, 6
Mitchell.
freshmen that are in there all game too.
Yeah.
Dillingham played awful. I mean, you're gonna have bad games. Shepard, yeah, it
he
sucks
makes a great
sometimes,
point,
guys.
though. He makes a great point. Every year, because they have so many kids going to the draft, every year is like he's rebuilding his program over and over again. He's got to teach the. I don't know if y'all watch high school basketball, but these kids have a lot less IQ than previous years. So he got to keep reteaching simple basketball things to everybody because all they want to do is play offense all the time. So these other schools got more vets. I would say they have better seasoned players that probably worked through the Elite Eight, got there, and decided to stay and come back. Whereas Coach Cal is just dealing with kids who just they first go around and they're just excited about it. So I mean, he needs to start taking that into account as well. Like you can't just keep having one and dones because now you just putting yourself in the same position as last year.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like I like the way Kansas is kind of building their rosters. If you look at the last 2 years, what they've done, they have that core of team players. Like there's 3 guys left from the national championship team. Then last year they brought in Grady Dick, right? So they brought in one top 5 scorer who was a one and done. And they basically said, hey, we've got a whole unit here. You get to come in and be the featured scorer. And we've got a culture and a team around this to support you. And then he shined and he was one and done and got drafted, right? And now this year they've kind of rebuilt again. They have 3 core guys back. They brought in one and a transfer portal person, one and done top 5 guy, and they kind of building like that. I feel like that's like the ideal situation. Of course, next year those 3 core players will be gone and they'll be having to kind of start that all over again. and there used to be a whole strategy to whether you would, some universities like to keep a balanced roster, like they would have, like a 12-man roster, they'd have 3 freshmen, 3 sophomores, 3 juniors, 3 seniors, and every year bringing 3 new players. And then other smarter coaches, I feel like, would kind of like have 4 or 5 guys come into one class, and then the next year they'd only need 2 guys but they were building like every 2 years. So like Duke used to do this a lot, where they'd have like a whole core of a class come in together. Those guys would all start as sophomores and juniors, and by senior year they'd be peaking, and they just need to bring in 1 or 2 guys to fill in. They never would have like 3 from every grade back in the day. All right, so let's do this because that bar hasn't moved yet. Maybe that's not what that bar means, like I thought it did. I'm gonna hop in here, and if there are, let's see, how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 minus Jeremiah, so 7. If there's 7 or more spots open, then we'll all go in right now, so everyone kind of have it ready. If I pop in and there's only less than 7, then I'll hop out and we'll know to check back again. Hopefully I don't hop in and there's only 1 spot left, but if that happens, I'll just let that league auto draft, and then we'll know that we can start a new one right away. So let's
gonna
see.
draft Marvin Harrison for you, Greg. I'm sorry.
You're gonna take Marvin Harrison first round?
No, the auto draft is.
Oh no, I have my rankings
Oh,
loaded,
you're good
so at
then.
least it
You
won't
got him ranked as like 200.
yeah, at least it won't do it won't be with their rankings. All right, you guys are seeing the screen, right? I'm gonna hop in and it says waiting for 6. So, and that's what we needed, right? So there should be 6 spots open right now. So everyone come on in and we should be good to go. That's perfect. There'll be 7 of us. Did you guys get those spots? Hopefully. Let me know once you're in. Use the Zoom raise of hand once you're in. It's down to 3. Cole's in.
I'm in. Where is
Wait, it says I have to uninstall any browser extensions.
Hey, Ashanti, I had this same problem initially, buddy. Hit Alt Y to raise your hand. My Zoom didn't have it either.
Yeah. I have to like uninstall browser extensions, it says.
I don't know what that
Ever.
means.
I don't either. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. What browser are you using? In Chrome or?
Chrome?
Yeah. You might have some kind of blocker in there. Let's see. Is everybody still seeing the same thing I'm seeing on the screen? 'Cause I'm surprised. It's oh, there we go. Waiting for 1 more spot. All right, Jeremiah, who do you like in the first round here? Let's see what pick we get. There's Bobby has first pick. He's with us, right? Nice. What pick did the rest of you guys get in here? We have 12th pick, Jeremiah, so we'll be at the
I
end.
got 3.
All right, yeah. We'll wait to see who's available.
Yeah, we'll have 2 picks at the end there. All right, so as you make your pick, just kind of talk through it and let us know, why you're making your pick. Obviously, you don't really want to talk about the other players that are on the board because you're kind of giving away insights then. But, as you're making your pick, so you don't want to say, oh, it was a tough decision between McCafferty and Bijan, and I went with him, right? But we do want to, have fun with this and learn from each other and create content by kind of talking through our picks here. So, Bobby, where are you going with the first pick?
I took
Pretty
CMC. Feel like that's pretty obvious. I understand that receivers are probably more important, but I think running back every year is kind of random, but CMC is just too consistent.
Yeah, cool. Hey, when it comes to each of our turns, don't pick right away. use your time. So we have used this time to talk through our picks here.
Yeah,
And
I'm thinking I'm gonna go for Jamar Chase. I mean, he's a solid wide receiver. I mean, Tyreek Hill's getting older, and I don't know if he's gonna have the same speed that he always does.
yeah, Tua
But
has a risk too, right? He could get
oh, it
concussions.
didn't take it. It took Tyreek. Boo.
Huh. Did you you want to put your player in the queue or else kind of go like to here and then click draft
Yeah.
to
But
take?
it's I would have taken Jamar Chase there over Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill is not a bad pick at 3.
All right, I'm God chose my squad. We're gonna go with Bijan. I just have a feeling he's gonna be a dual threat when it comes to running
I think he
and
went right before you. I think
Yep.
he's already gone.
oh,
Are
he's gone.
you seeing the screen? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's fine, but I will take his doppelganger, Jameer Gibbs. And same thing applies to him. He's going to catch out of the backfield, and he's also going to probably run for 1,200 this year. So, and the Lions didn't even touch the surface on what he could do because they were trying to find out what he could do. They know now.
Yeah, I agree. I love Gibbs. Maybe even more than any of these other guys that are going here. All right, so these are not people that are with us, I guess. All right, we're up here, Jeremiah.
All right, where are the running backs available? I probably want one running back and one receiver here.
Yeah, like I was saying, with underdog strategy, you're better off going with receivers. So
Okay, I like AJ Brown.
you like him?
Oh yeah, I like AJ Brown for
All
sure.
right, we have 2 picks in a row here, so I'm going to take AJ Brown with our first one, and then what other receiver do you like here and why?
Of the ones I can see on the screen, DJ Moore. I think they've gotten him a lot of help, and I think Caleb Williams is in the best position number 1 quarterback's been in at least as long as I can remember.
Yeah, I agree. DJ Moore is young. His numbers should only go up with Caleb coming. I think Keenan Allen is going to help him, not hurt him. I like
Agreed.
DJ Moore a lot there for us.
AJ Brown's a good pick, especially with Saquon there to kind of take off
I'm
some of
afraid
that.
Saquon will cut into everyone's numbers a little bit there, but AJ Brown's still so proven. You know, and AJ Brown did have some injury history back in his Tennessee days and last year. But yeah, he's definitely the best guy there. All right, so let's see.
Did the person who took Mark Andrews in the first round, are they with us? I would just like their thoughts on that pick.
I just chose Devontae. Basically, I think he got a bad deal at the beginning of the year because the coach had absolutely no idea how to use the best wide receiver in football, just about. So I think AP is going to figure out how to do it this year.
Devontae Adams, yeah, his quarterbacking is really what worries me, but it can't be any worse than last year's, right?
Well, I mean, me and you could be his quarterback. They just literally have to throw him the ball, which is what they didn't do until like week 9 last year.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, he's such a proven weapon, you know, with huge upside. He's getting a little older, right? He's 30 now, but I think he's a great pick right there. All right, so
Yeah,
Bob's got 2 in a row here.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Stephon Diggs for my first pick here. He had a down year this past year and still put up 1,200 yards and 8 tuds. So I think that's a safe floor for him. I don't like anyone on the board now. I'm going to go with a stack. No, I'm not. There's a lot of receivers. I really don't like any of these receivers, but I'm gonna go with the stack. Maybe not worry about QB later on. I'll take Josh Allen since I took Stephon Diggs and see what my team looks like here in a couple rounds.
Yeah, the stacking is a very popular strategy on Underdog where you get the quarterback, receiver, and the tight end even. Figure, you know, if your receiver's going to have a big day, then your quarterback's got to have a big day when it comes to the playoffs at the end. And
I usually wait on QB too, so I'm interested to see what I can do with an early QB pick there.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at this next pick, and I think I'm gonna go with a quarterback actually, just because he's there. Oh, we're not. That 30-second turnaround's quick. But I probably would have gone for a Lamar Jackson. I think that Derrick Henry opens up that field for him. So I would have loved to have Lamar there.
He might make it around to you again in this format. So which one's your team? Who did you have now? You have
Yeah,
Hill.
I think I took Ayuk. Yeah, I took Ayuk, which isn't a bad pick. I think Ayuk is benefits from that offense. I think he's good as a wide receiver too, as an X receiver. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think he'll put up
I
some
think
numbers this year.
CJ Stroud just got him. I honestly think he just has weapons all over the field this year, and he's going to be a TD machine.
CJ Stroud, nice. All right, we're up here. Jeremiah, our first of our two
Right.
picks.
This
So
I
now's a
don't
good
hate
time to
ET
grab
in there.
Now's a
I
good time
I
to grab
like
a
ET
running
in
back.
there.
Who do you like?
Yeah, ETN right there of the ones I've seen.
Okay.
The guy I wonder what Henry's gonna do. Do you like him or no?
We have
And
another pick here. We should grab another receiver.
receiver, I like DK Metcalf.
Okay.
Of the ones I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, Metcalf, when he had good quarterbacking was great. He hasn't been
Yep.
as great with Geno Smith. I actually like that they brought in some quarterback competition there. I think that could be really good for Metcalf.
And I wouldn't put it past them drafting one either.
To draft a quarterback.
Yep.
Well, that's not good for Metcalf to have a rookie out there. But Sam Howell put up decent numbers fantasy at Washington. I think that if Sam Howell wins that job, that will be good for Metcalf and JSN. I think they'll be phasing Tyler Lockett out.
Well, I feel if they draft, they'll look to sit the quarterback for a year, try to let him learn the system. I wouldn't rush one in if it's not one of the top 2 or 3 guys.
Well, to me, that roster is ready to win now in Seattle. They got good receivers, good running backs. I would rather see them take some defense and start Sam Howell if he can beat out Geno. All right, let's see who's up here. So this is Edmund, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
it's me. Somebody just stole the guy I wanted, so I'm trying to pivot.
Love when that happens.
It seems like my positions are getting messed up here. Okay. I'm going with Cup because I have a feeling that the scouts are out on Puka, and the people are going to start focusing in on him, and then you're going to realize, Cooper's still the dude. So it's going to go in reverse now that we have tape on Puka. So
Yeah, Cup, he's older. If he can get back to himself, I mean, he had one of the best years of all time a couple of years ago, right? When they won the Super Bowl.
yeah, I think nowadays you have to have a good 3 good wide receivers, and it just keeps them guessing. This is not your daddy's NFL where you have like one guy. So that's just not what it is anymore. So I Puka and Cooper are going to do fine. So you have to pick your poison depending on how you set up your defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually think Puka's numbers might go down a little because Cooper wasn't there for so much of Puka's breakout. Now that they're both there, I think it'll be divided up a little more.
Ooh.
I went for value at my pick. Took Devontae Smith. I think he could. I like those number 2 receivers because you always have those wide receiver ones that I think they oftentimes, yeah, sure, you have your guys like CD Lamb and Tyreek Hill that are going to put up numbers every week, but the wide receiver 2s are really the ones that you can get the most bang for your buck on, especially in an offense that has a lot of targets, and Philly's going to have a lot of targets in their offense.
Yeah, I love Devontae Smith as like a player to watch. He's man, he was probably the best college receiver I can ever remember seeing. And I think he's still growing and getting better.
Ooh.
Somebody took the guy I like Zay Flowers a lot. I think he's a really good pick for this kind of thing.
Yeah, to get Zay
it's about
Flowers in
right.
the 5th round is fantastic pick there. That I don't think that team's with us, but
I'm gonna take a chance on Anthony Richardson. I'm not a big fan of drafting sophomore quarterbacks, but I think he has the tools necessary to get it done. We'll just have to see.
yeah, it could be another Jalen Hurts, right? He has Hurts, his old coach. Definitely a lot of upside in Richardson. My worry with him is if he gets hurt.
Yeah,
Especially,
because he's running.
yeah, in best ball, there's no free agency, so I really try to pick. I value and rank guys based on if I think they're not going to get hurt.
Oh,
Almost
there was also like Burrow and Prescott there as well, which I was like, I don't know. I feel regression coming for those guys, you know.
Oh, don't say that about Jeremiah's Burrow. He's so young. He's just got to stay healthy. I'm
Burrow's
nervous.
been hurt.
I'm
Hey, there's
nervous.
another guy that makes it to the conference championship game every year when he's healthy. Now, let's not forget.
I'm nervous about Burrow staying healthy, though.
We all are here.
I just took Dalton Kincaid just basically because I have a feeling Diggs is not going to be there probably by training camp. He's already kind of hitting around. He wants out.
Great.
So yeah, I think that that's going to be a lot more catches for him with Kincaid.
Kincaid. Yeah, he was my sleeper pick last year. I'm going to grab us another receiver and then let you pick our quarterback, Jeremiah.
Give me the rundown on that guy, Greg. I've never heard of him.
Well, quarterback, let's go, Homer. Just, I can't help it.
All right, I'll put Joe Burrow in the queue for you. Yeah, so Jaden Reed was a rookie last year, led Green Bay with 8 touchdowns. Seems to be developing as their number one go-to receiver there. There's a lot of receivers there.
Wilkins is going to be the guy, like Christian Wilkins.
Christian Watkins or Wilkins. He seems to always be hurt. He's more of a deep ball guy. Dobbs also had a great playoffs, and now they have Josh Jacobs in the mix. So he's not, there's some risk factors there. That's why we got him in the end of the 5th round, beginning of the 6th round. But just based on what he did last year in his rookie year, it was very promising. And I think that offense is going to be very explosive in Green Bay. I'm trying to get as many Packers as I can.
I like it.
All right. Kyle Pitts, man, I can't bring myself to draft him ever again. It's just been so many letdowns. I'm not buying Atlanta's like going to be this offensive juggernaut until I actually see it.
Oh, come on. Really? You don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be dropping dimes over to Drake London over there?
I don't remember him ever dropping dimes or winning playoff games. I mean, he's 35. He's coming off a major injury. He was in a pass-happy offense and put up decent stats, but not top 5. He was top 10. Now, like Bijan, I think if they're smart, they'll run Bijan into the ground. So that's not good for Cousins or Drake London or Pitts.
He's the most like hidden fantasy good quarterback, like consistent top 10, and like nobody ever expects it. It's weird.
Cousins, yeah, but now he's on a whole new team in Atlanta, and so there's just a lot of unknowns there.
We'll see what Atlanta does in the draft. I mean, I think Atlanta loves drafting wide receivers, and they've pulled off a couple of big blockbusters for them in the past. So if they do one of those, I think they need a defensive end, and I think they're going to go defensive end at 8. But
they just spent a decent amount of money on receivers, right? They brought in Rondale Moore and Darnell Mooney.
Right? Yeah, no, basically revamped the core wide receiver core there. They only kept Drake London. Everyone else just kind of got turned around. But we'll see what happens. I like Darnell Mooney. I think he's going to be good for them.
I think he could be a good sleeper. Let's see. Who did we miss here? Did Edmund get a pick?
Greg, you are hating on these Tampa Bay guys. Everybody I see, they're like 20 spots below where they should be.
No, I got a little ways to go. But yeah, I agree. I think Atlanta, from just a fantasy perspective, with Drake and Bijan, there's going to be a ton of people in Atlanta that are going to give you a ton of fantasy value. Just outside of fantasy is a different thing because they're gonna run over people in the NFC South, but they're still not top heavy enough, I don't think, to do anything beyond that. But look at a lot of Atlanta's heavy hitters to help you out in fantasy for sure, because Kirk Cousins is all about inflated numbers. So he'll
I
help.
usually don't do this late in the draft, but I'm going to go double running back here. I took Alvin Kamara with the last one and going to take Aaron Jones on this one.
Yeah, people on the show have been really selling me on Kamara. We looked at his stats by average last year, and he was top 5. He's a little bit older, but I think that he still can be very productive.
Yeah, I was gonna take Kamara, but you took him right before me. I like Kamara and Jones a lot. Like
Yeah.
I like guys that, yeah, they might get 8 rushes, but I mean 12 catches for them is not like insane to think about for them week in and week out. I went with David Montgomery though. That goal line back in Detroit has been amazing the last 2 years. I think Jamal Williams had like 20 tutties just a few years ago, and then Montgomery recently went off too. So I'm a huge fan of Montgomery, but definitely like Kamara and Jones a lot.
Yeah, there's so much in that Detroit offense. There's so much productivity. There's enough to go around for everybody. I honestly wish they'd get rid of Montgomery, and that would make Gibbs like he would be the new McCaffrey, right? He would get everything if Montgomery's gone. Like next year, that's what I'm kind of banking on in Dynasty. Eventually, Montgomery will wear out.
I think they like that 1-2 punch so they don't run in either into the ground. But I think the number of touches is going to be more lopsided next year in favor of Jameer.
Mm-hmm. And they barely used Gibbs out of the in the passing game yet. I think that's going to go to another level.
Absolutely.
They were just easing him in that first year. All right, Jeremiah, we're going to need a running back and a tight end soon. Don't love any of these
I like
running backs.
what you mentioned in the past, with the Najee Jalen.
Yeah, I like, Najee when he had a good quarterback had good numbers. So I've been talking about him a lot. I think we can wait on those guys though. So this is where you'd want to look at what position you're drafting and see who's available. What do you think of Brock Bowers? You probably got to see him a lot in the SEC.
Yeah, in the right situation, I'd love it, but I hate not knowing where the guy's going to play.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble. I think, if you're good, you can go wherever you wherever you wind up, you can go. And I'm going to have us grab either another quarterback here or another receiver.
Jordan Love's still available, and he seemed to be really progressing towards the end of the season.
Yeah, let's grab Jordan Love. I mean, even though Burrow's, with those two, we should get a 25 to 30 point game every week out of those two.
Every week, yeah.
And I don't do that as a set strategy, grabbing 2 quarterbacks, but in best ball, it can make sense if there's a player you really like up there, like Jordan Love. So basically, we have our starting lineup down now, right? We got our 1 quarterback. Actually,
more running back.
We need another running back, yeah. And then
after this, it's drafting for value.
Yeah, I didn't love any of those running backs. I kind of see that whole group in the same category. So some of them will make it back to us. And even though it's a long way all the way around, I don't really like drafting at the end. I'd rather us be in the middle. So TCU still hasn't tipped off. It's still, I guess they're that far.
Yeah, that's weird.
They're running way behind, I guess. The games are all on the same court, right? So they got to finish one and give them 30 minutes to warm up or something.
Yeah, I will say our boys don't do well when they play late. So we'll see. Makes me anxious the more the later they push the start time.
I don't think they'll be tired though. You can't. It's not like you don't get up for a NCAA game,
Yeah.
If anything, people seem to get nervous.
Oh yeah. Anytime we smell victory, we start to get a little nervous in our seats. I was a student section leader back in college, and so I would lead student sections and cheers and chants and all that kind of stuff. And every
Oh, man.
time we were close, oh man, you could feel the anxiety in that stadium. All right, I'm gonna go on with my first tight end. I'm gonna take Jake Ferguson. He's got a new girlfriend over at TCU, who I think is going to give him an extra pep in his step this year. Um, she's a TikTok star. That's Haley Cavender. So I think that's going to give him an extra boost of confidence going into this season, and we'll see what happens.
The Cavender twins, right?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah,
Is
the one that
dating
transferred to TCU.
is dating Jake Ferguson.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Is TCU women's in the tournament?
No, I think we're in the. I think it's the WBIT or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, next year though.
You guys allow court storming over there?
Do we allow it? No, but we're just that school is rich enough to pay any fines we get.
Edmund, how you liking your team?
It's a mixed bag. Like I said, I went with some older players, so I'm hoping, that they still got some. I'm kicking the tires on them right now, but it's fine. I think Romeo Dubs is going to end up being Jordan Love's like go-to guy this year. I think he didn't sort of settle in on a go-to receiver last year, but I'm thinking it's going to be him when I thought last year it was going to be Watson. So we shall see. So I'm rolling the dice, fantasy, you got to take some chances here.
Yeah, I think he's a great pick. I mean, they went to him in the playoffs. He was the guy that blew up when that game when they blew out the Cowboys.
Oh, don't. Hey. I still have nightmares about that. So
let's see, Bobby, with Hawkinson, what do you like about him? You think he's going to be ready for day one, or you're factoring that in already?
Yeah, whether he's ready for, game one is up in the air. I just think kind of what Edmund was just saying, just kind of taking a risk there. I mean, he was in the running for best tight end in the league last year. I know he's coming off a big injury, but I didn't really like anyone on the board at that point. I like Jamison Williams, but I feel like they got him, I don't know. Ever since he got in trouble for gambling, he just doesn't really play football anymore. So
Who drafted my boy Austin Eckler? Somebody drafted him. Probably an auto pick.
Yeah, Eckler, seems to be on the decline.
He is.
Normally I like players like Hawkinson where like they're going to be out for the beginning of the year and, you can get some value on them and then you have them for the playoffs down the stretch. I really like that about Hawkinson. Him losing Kirk Cousins is a big negative in my opinion. We don't know who Minnesota's quarterback is going to be. All right, so we are up here for some running backs.
I do kind of like Warren, Greg. I don't know if you like him or not. He might be the number one back for the Steelers.
Too, of the names I've seen.
I like at this point. I'm going to grab us the rookie running backs.
Brooks. I think could end up in Dallas, and that could be a steal.
Yeah, I'm thinking Brooks will start for Dallas, and Corum will start for the Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yeah, I mean Benson's rated better and probably better, but we don't know where he's going. Maybe the Giants or the Raiders he'll go to. I don't like those situations as much. I love Blake Corum. Not necessarily from college, but just I think Harbaugh's going to run the ball with the Chargers. He traded off all their receivers. He's got a good pick in the second round. The Chargers will have the fifth pick, so that's where I see them grabbing Blake Corum. And they didn't really sign anybody else in free agency, right? They shipped off Eckler, brought in
Gus Edwards.
I don't really think he's
me either, but
the lowest rate of all the starting running backs in the league. He's probably in the bottom 2 or 3.
Is Chayev rookie?
Spears?
No, Benson.
Yeah, he's
Trey
Benson. Sorry.
Yeah, Trey Benson is Florida State's running back. He's number 1 rated running back in this draft class.
I thought it was
Where
Brooks,
is the Texas guy?
Brooks, yeah.
Is the Texas guy up there or no? Or is he already picked?
We just took him.
Okay.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks. coming off an ACL tear in November, but everything seems to be pointing towards the Cowboys drafting him. You know, I think people forget, like running backs like Jonathan Taylor went in the second round. You know, who's the Jets running back? Breeze, he went in the second
Brees
round.
Hall.
Yeah, Brees Hall. Like, you know, we think, oh, this is a down year for running backs because it's such a great year for receivers. But a lot of great NFL running backs come out of the second and third rounds. You just have to come up with the right situation that they might get into. So trying to predict that now is fun, right? As soon as Brooks gets drafted by the actual Cowboys, he'll start going in the third round, which is why now is a great time to draft these teams and try to win the $2 million tournament, because we can get value in players now that we won't be able to get once all the information is known. Bobby, what do you got here? You taking Benson?
Yeah, I took Benson, highest rated running back available, so I just thought, why not?
Yeah.
I really
I
want to
didn't
take
know
Herbert, but
Singletary.
I don't know what they got going on over there offensively. They
Yeah,
lost
Herbert's the
everyone.
scariest pick, I think, in fantasy.
Yeah, look at
No
this
doubt about it.
395. He was like number one quarterback in the league in 2021. You'd think they would bring in a quarterback to get things right for him, a coach rather, but I don't trust Harbaugh with a quarterback.
I didn't know Singletary got traded. That was kind of a hidden or signed or whatever. That was kind of a hidden one.
Yeah,
He's in the Giants now.
as of now, he's starting for the Giants.
They gave him Saquon's number.
No loyalty there at all.
All right, here comes the TCU pick. Quentin Johnson, baby.
Oh my gosh. Is he gonna write his career?
You know what? What a way to, right? I mean, get everyone sold in front of you, and then all of a sudden you're number one on the depth chart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I could see Chargers going wide receiver in the draft, but that's just a lot of young guys.
2 years in a row.
I don't
that was
know.
a wide receiver
Yeah.
for them. I think everybody wants Quentin Johnson to step up, and maybe, you know, his rookie year, there was time on the field for him. He just didn't really show us anything.
It's the drops. He had problems with drops at TCU as well. So, I mean, I'm hoping that he can turn that around for himself, get some ball security.
And
Yeah.
if Williams could stay healthy, I think he could still be a good wide receiver.
Well, what's the insight on Quentin then? Did you, like, in college, did you feel like, you know, this guy's going to be a stud, or was he a prospect, or?
Oh, watching him play, it's kind of uncanny. He's big, he's fast, he's got hands when he in the big moments. That's what I saw. Is that how he performed in the biggest moments? I mean, during the national championship game, I mean, obviously we got blown out, but like during that whole entire season, it was Q who was getting us that extra touchdown to get us within 3, and then we get the field goal and go on to OT.
Yeah. Hey, Jeremiah, pick us out a receiver here. Who do you like from this board of what's left?
I don't. Man, Judy, there's some upside. I don't trust therapist Watson at all, though.
They got the Ravens back up. I actually like him. Huntley. He could be a good quarterback.
Yeah, I don't love knowing there.
We ran out of time and it took Jerome Ford. All right, so we'll take Judy then. You were talking about him.
All right. Let's get these brownies.
I mean,
picked.
Judy,
I
you know,
like
he
it.
had one decent year here, right? Was that his second year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe he just needs
There's
a
a lot
fresh
of
start.
potential.
Maybe he just needs a fresh start. You know, Amari Cooper's getting a little older. I think.
Yep.
I don't know how much that team's gonna throw. What do you guys think of Jerry Judy?
He was good as hell at Alabama. I know that.
Mhm.
That's true.
Their entire receiving corps back then was awesome.
Yeah.
It's just a risk. If he performs, they got him good for a good deal. If he doesn't perform, it's a huge bust. That's what it comes down to. Because they signed him for the same price as Keenan Allen, actually, which is kind of interesting.
I think Judy's interesting too, because if Chubb doesn't come back right away, Like they got to throw the ball a good amount. So, you know,
Mhm.
if Chubb stays out for an extended period of time, I think that helps Judy a lot.
Yeah.
I think Chubb will be cut. I don't know if Chubb's
Oh,
coming back.
I'm
Too
all
much
for
money.
it. As a Browns fan, there's a lot of money they can save.
And he's 30. Running backs usually are done by then, even if he didn't have that injury. Well, the
I
TCU game is underway, by the way. It's off to a fast start, looking good for my over here.
I took Rashid. I think last year's draft class in the NFL was one of the best. And you're going to see so many second year guys who are just going to amaze you. So it's not just Puka. You got Rashid, you got Jameer, you got BJ, CJ Stroud. I mean, this draft class was just amazing. So do not be surprised if you see Shaheed basically being used as a running back, a wide receiver, and on special teams.
Really? He kind of came out of nowhere last year, so I don't know that much about him. Like he was on my waiver wire for a long time last year, and he just kept scoring, but he was doing better than Olav.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek Carr, right? And there is a little long in the tooth there at quarterback.
The only thing that worries me is New Orleans is like this gadget team, so sometimes Taysom Hill will take away touchdowns from guys that should be getting them. But I'm gonna pray they understand that Rashid is probably their best offensive weapon this year.
Does anyone have a take on Jalen Wright? Did you guys see much of him in the SEC, Jeremiah?
Where'd he go?
Tennessee.
Hmm.
I've seen a little Tennessee, but none of it's standing out to me right now.
Yeah, he's ranked really high in terms of draft, like a second or third round pick in the NFL draft. But I think about Tennessee, they like spread it out and run and gun, and so I don't see how a running back coming from that style is really going to fit in that well in the NFL.
Curtis Samuel's the name of the past. I didn't even know he was still in the league.
Yeah, I
Well,
like him going to
my
Buffalo.
pick.
Where
Yeah,
was he? Was he in the Panthers?
he's in Washington.
Oh, Washington. Okay.
He
They kinda
was
use-
on the Panthers originally. Yeah. What do
They
you
use him
think
like
he's
a
going to do in
gadget.
Washington?
You say what?
What do you think he's going to do in Washington? I mean, in Buffalo now, Samuel.
Well, it helps me too because I have Josh Allen, so I was really going for a stack there. Gabe Davis not being there anymore just opens up more targets, especially if I don't know who said it earlier, but if Diggs goes, that's even better for Samuel. But I think he's a
Absolutely.
gadget player too. I think he's just going to be really involved in a lot of crazy stuff that they would do.
Yeah, if Diggs goes, Samuel becomes their number one. I mean, that would be a home run.
Hmm.
So that's a good swing to take this time and by this point in the draft here.
I have a
I
question
loved
too.
him at Ohio State. He was like one of my favorite Ohio State players ever.
I'm going to throw this question out there because I remember the last stream that we were talking about a little bit, but the Chargers seem like they're kind of in a weird spot because they lost every offensive weapon imaginable. They have the 5th pick in the draft. I think everyone thinks that they're going to move back. Would you see them move the 5th pick to Buffalo and try to get a Stephon Diggs or trade to the Bengals and try to get a T Higgins? Like, I just don't see what their plan is offensively right now.
I think they go and trade with the Vikings because I think the
Mhm.
Vikings are looking to move up for one of those top quarterbacks, and that 5 pick is ripe for one of those. So they could either get 2 first-round picks and maybe start replenishing some of that receiver core with some young guys, or hey, maybe they get a package for Jet.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, I see them drafting a receiver there, staying right there and drafting a receiver. To me, that's they shipped out their receivers because they needed to save money and they're going to draft a receiver. So I don't see them trading out of 5. I get why Minnesota wants to trade up and will be offering them a lot. I actually was liking Justin Fields there. I think he's going to be starting by the end of the year and it's a good value there. Don't really need another quarterback though.
I
don't
like
need a
Will
tight
Levis
end.
a lot. Yeah.
I
Backup
was gonna say, trade back and get either Neighbors or Adunze, whoever falls, and then get Bowers too, and just have that be the new start to the offense.
I'm going to
Do
grab a
you trust
guy.
the quarterback or no? Like, do you trust Herbert?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely trust Herbert. I think he's a
I
dog.
think he's really good.
With weapons, I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to
That's
throw the ball if you don't have anyone to throw it to.
Exactly.
All right, so we're getting to the point in the draft here where it's like down to prospects. These two I'm very high on. Ricky Pearsall out of the Gators is the guy that I think will land in Buffalo or Kansas City. He is a slot receiver, would fit in fantastic there, like a Wes Welker type. Very high on him if he lands in one of those two spots. I'm kind of betting on that by taking him. If he goes to Carolina or something, he'll be a waste. And then Marshawn Lloyd was the USC running back. I like him the best of all the rookies that are not in kind of the top 5. He's got a lot of explosiveness. He had a lot of big runs for USC. It's funny. I was watching Caleb. Where I would watch USC games to see if Caleb was good, and I wound up just seeing Lloyd run crazy on a lot of those games. And I'm like, man, this guy has got a burst. So I would love to see him come in behind like a Joe Mixon or a team that has like an aging, maybe Arizona with who's the guy that's over there? Cotton. I never
James Conner.
James Conner. Yeah, there's some of these older guys. I think Lloyd will go to one of those spots and eventually be starting by the end of the year. Well, that's kind of my thinking with those two picks at this point. Like we're just kind of prospecting.
Is there a guy named Xavier Johnson even on the board? He was like a super solid Ohio State receiver.
Yeah. Oh no, not Xavier Johnson. There is an Xavier
No,
the Oregon receiver.
yeah. I wonder if I don't see him. Interesting. He could be like a Debo Samuels. He was actually like he had a few game-winning scores for Ohio State.
Well, their second receiver is coming back, right? That what's the guy
Yeah,
with the
this guy was like a slot running back receiver kind of combo person, and they ran him a lot against Georgia, actually.
well, what's the number 2 receiver's name? He was supposed to come
Ibuka.
out this year.
Emeka Buka, but we have the best receiver we've ever had, in my mind, coming in. A guy named Jeremiah Johnson. He was a #1 recruit, and he's going to be a day one starter.
Why did Emeka come back? I'm surprised. He was supposed to be a first round pick.
He wants to beat Michigan. Maybe. I don't know. He's tired of losing. Yeah, but Xavier Johnson, if he gets a chance, he could be like he's just like a Swiss Army knife.
Nice. Yeah, let's see if he's even in here. Xavier John. Jones.
It might be O instead of E. Is it O? Zavier. No, yeah, he's not in there. You never know. Every once in a while, there's a free agent somebody picks up.
Well, they don't have everybody. There's the Louisville running back I've been looking for is not in here.
Anyone else know about him or no? You kind of, I mean, you have to watch Ohio State a little bit, but maybe someone else knows about him.
No.
Yeah, I've heard of him against Georgia.
All right, let's see. Who else did you guys
But
get?
I was at that game.
Okay.
Took a flyer on Rashad Bateman just now. I mean, there's not a lot of targets in that offense, and whatever targets are going to go to like Zay Flowers, and I think that Bateman can carve out a role if there's a role for him. It's almost
he was
a one
their number
receiver
1
team.
pick, right? Wasn't he a number 1 pick?
Yeah, a while back. I don't know. He just hasn't had the opportunity to succeed the way he can. I think he's
been injured a lot too.
Yeah,
I like the Isaiah Likely pick a lot. He could be solid.
Yeah, I mean, he's still not starting, but if he gets a starting job, then
yeah,
then
Andrews something could happen to him.
Be productive. Let's see, who else did you guys get that we haven't covered? Baker Mayfield.
Roman Wilson.
We just took Zay Jones. I think he's gonna move up in the rotation where Ridley went and got his bag. So I don't really actually know who Jacksonville plans on throwing to, so it's a dice roll. So
Yeah, I like Zay Jones over there. He was good 2 years ago for them. They're supposedly trying to make a trade with the 49ers for Ayuk.
Mm,
You know, Ayuk wants out is everything I'm hearing.
I'm
So-
hearing Pittsburgh for him, but we'll see.
That would be good.
Same
Interesting.
thing.
Are you hiring any of these Pittsburgh receivers now, or not really?
We're gonna take Noah Brown here, and then Jeremiah. Anybody that you like? Noah Brown had a couple really big games
No,
last
I like
year,
Noah Brown there.
and then he
The
got
tight ends,
hurt.
you only have one. I
Yeah,
just
let's
don't
get
know if
another
that's
tight end. Who do you like on this tight end list? I think this is an interesting. Jonu
Yeah,
Smith
yeah.
coming to the Dolphins. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they lost Kaseki as well. I like that as good as anybody else on the list.
It's an explosive offense, and he had some big plays. What do you Atlanta guys think of him? Like he did all right last year, right? Oh, we missed the pick. Ran out of time. Just talking.
No,
Yeah,
not him.
I think he's a good complimentary guy. I don't think his fantasy relevancy is where you'd want it to be, but for like a tight end too, not a terrible pick. I mean,
On
with
the
the guys
Dolphins,
out
though,
there.
I feel like he's going to like the perfect fit for him, the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he fits that offense well. I'm sure he's happy to be out of Atlanta.
Bro.
But yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting to see what he does this season.
Where's Odell at? Has he signed anywhere?
I don't think so. Not
No,
yet.
no.
No,
Chargers,
and I heard a
probably.
rumor about where he might be today.
I don't want him back at Cleveland.
Where is he going? New York? Back to New York?
That's one of the things I heard. No, it wasn't what I'd heard today. I'll have to give me a second to think about it.
He just had a meeting with the Dolphins.
Ooh,
Wow.
I like
Hey,
that.
there it was. We were just talking about them. There it is. Thank you.
Wow, Odell to the Dolphins.
Yeah,
Crazy.
That would make him kind of potentially fantasy relevant again.
Hmm.
waiver
He
wire.
was like one of the most talented receivers I've seen for a little bit.
Just took a Conku. I just being a
Uh,
Cowboys fan, I just think that the Texans are about to find out. Excuse me, the Titans are about to find out how truly bad Tony Potter really is. So they're going to be passing a lot more. So
Yeah, I want to talk about that. What have y'all been doing this offseason? Where have the
Cowboys?
Cowboys been?
well, this is just my prediction. I just think they're just going to give Dak his bag because he has all of the leverage, and then they're going to just start over. They don't have another choice. So it's one of those things where Jerry Jones waited so long to sign him long term, and then signing him to these short term contracts. He's in the box. So what can we do? But look, I'm not that Cowboys fan. So if I have to be on this show, you guys can point me to it. I'm very realistic when it comes to that. But I know a lot of Cowboy fans are like, we're still gonna do it regardless. But
Here we go.
but and it's just blasphemous for even me to be a Cowboys fan from DC. That's like the most blasphemous thing in the whole world. So it's just I've seen it. We've lost everywhere you possibly could lose. So I'm thinking this year probably 9-8, and we finally get the quarterback we need in the draft.
I don't think the Commanders are the bottom feeders of that NFC East anymore. I do think the Cowboys finished last in the division this year.
Oh
Well-
no, the Giants, man.
No way.
Oh.
The Giants.
Oh, the Giants for sure. But that's
Giants
the
are
reason why
awful.
we've been winning 12 games, and then I got to get a phone call after we lose in the playoffs because we can beat up on bad teams and go 5-1 in the NFC East, then beat a couple of other bad teams outside of the division. Next thing you know, we got 12, 13 wins, and then we get in the playoffs and we play real teams. And it's like, oh, we haven't played a real team in a long time. so it's like the Green Bay thing didn't surprise me because of what San Francisco did to Dallas and what Buffalo did to Dallas. I was like, oh, there's a difference between the Commanders and the Bills. So it is what it is. But no, I'll be that guy on the show though that will roll the dice for the Cowboys no matter what. But the Titans are going to find out Tony Pollard is not what you think he is.
Yeah, I'm not taking him at all. Hey, Bobby made his picks here. Give us a breakdown of these two picks.
Sure. I mean, let me see who I took. I took Elijah Mitchell strictly because I have CMC on the team. If something happens to CMC, Mitchell steps in. I mean, he's probably a top 20 back with CMC not in the lineup. And then I'm taking Bucky Irving. Don't know much about him, but I like taking a rookie running backs. I think this class of running backs is not as good as years prior. So I think if he ends up in the right spot, sure, why not? I need running backs. I only had 3 going into that round, so had to go back to back there.
Yeah, so Bucky Irving was the starting running back for Oregon. Great pass catcher, which is good for PPR.
I love
Could,
hearing that.
could play somewhere as a third down back his rookie year, and then maybe groom into something else beyond that. You know, he'd be a great fit with a team that needs a third down back. I don't know, maybe Baltimore or somebody who
Chargers,
Chargers, yep, could go there.
Colts could use one too, honestly.
Yeah, I love your pick, kind of insuring Christian McCaffrey by getting Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
That's a really good strategy for best ball because remember, there's no free agency. And
Mhm.
so if you lose your top guy, you are pretty much screwed. And so that's exactly, if he's still here, we're going to grab Tank Bigsby.
They
Because
haven't updated Devontae Foreman yet. It's funny.
And to piggyback on what you just said, that's exactly why I took AJ Dillon, because I do not believe Josh Jacobs will play more than 8 games.
Oh,
and then we need a tight end.
Have to take a tight
oh
end.
no. No, yeah. How
think you were-
early is too early to start getting those handcuffs?
I like that.
Yeah, you were the one that told me about Gesicki. He could start to get some more balls in your Bengals, right?
Yes, let's hope so.
You know, the Bengals have never used their tight end, but it's a new offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, new offensive coordinator. He's been the quarterback coach the last few years. We had Brian Callahan. He's now the head coach in Tennessee. He's been with Callahan in this offense for a while. I'm hoping there's not a lot of changeover.
So it'll pretty much be the same system then before.
Yes.
It's not like they're bringing in a new offense under this coordinator because it's promoted from internally.
Yeah,
One
and Zach
more
Taylor
wanted to
comes out
ask.
of that.
Kate Strover is
Zach comes out of that
available.
Sean McVay tree. So
Yeah.
good offensive mind.
So then the question is, because Gesicki can play, right? If he gets targets, the guy put up good stats for a tight end in Miami. Do the Bengals not use? Is it the system that they don't use the tight end, or is it just they haven't had a good tight end?
Well, we haven't had a great tight end for one. Last one we had that was pretty good was Tyler Eifert. That was before Joe Burrow was here, and Eifert couldn't stay healthy and on the field. Plus, we have weapons elsewhere. I mean, our third receiver last year was Tyler Boyd, who I think could be a decent, end of the road second receiver. You know, a guy in the 50s, 60s if he was in the right spot.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't signed yet, right?
No.
I think he's gonna go to Pittsburgh. It's his hometown, I think. I would
Yeah,
love
no,
him
we don't
there.
want not. That's too close to home. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I'm
feel like
saying?
the
Not
Steelers
there.
would have signed him by now, but they must really be trying to make that trade for Ayuk. Right. Otherwise, I feel like they're just waiting on that. They're waiting on something, obviously.
Mhm.
My dude, Kate Strover might get drafted, and he could go to if he goes to a good team. You never know. He's a Buckeye.
What do you guys think of Dawson Knox? I mean, last year he was hurt. Everyone thinks, oh, Kincaid, is the starting tight end now. But I feel like Kincaid's more like a flanker, and that they're going to play Dawson Knox, and he could go back to his decent numbers.
Kincaid really didn't prove a lot last year.
I just think the NFL is sort of an evil organization, and it's just they're always going to give the ball to the guy they can pay the less to. So it's just smart to think that Kincaid is going to get more catches because then they can use Knox as either trade bait or miss a bonus.
So who do you guys think is going to be New England's number one receiver? Because that's a good place to look for a sleeper. What are we saying, Jeremiah?
Marvin Harrison.
No, they're gonna draft a quarterback, unfortunately.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
Is
mind
it-
Kendrick Bourne. I like that. I just picked him, but I think that he's a guy who's going to get some solid volume at least from whoever's there.
Yeah.
I almost want to look at the tight ends for New England. Who's out there?
Well, they re-signed Henry Henry. Yeah, I think he's gone though.
Yeah.
They signed KJ Osborne to be a receiver. He's not a go. He had his chance last year and kind of sucked right when Jefferson was hurt. So I like Bourne to be their number one receiver. Bourne's numbers, if you look at his stats, they're mediocre, like 4 touchdowns and 800 yards, but he only played half the season last year. If he played a whole year and get some better quarterbacking in there, I think he's a great late round pick. I've been taking a lot of Bourne. He's always gets hurt is the problem. And but if he can stay healthy, you could be getting a number one receiver in the last rounds here. Osborne,
Juju's still young. I don't know if he's going to be any good, but he still has potential. He's on that team, right? And he had a few
was
good
last
games.
year. I don't know if they're bringing him back. He didn't do much last year. He doesn't look
He's only
like he's got much
27.
left.
I looked, I was surprised. I thought he was older than that.
They signed Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper, yeah, another
That's
backup
my
tight end.
One of you guys got to draft my Buckeye.
Yeah,
Cade
Keith Stover. I'll tell you, I think he could be a sleeper in dynasty leagues. I don't know how much he'll do this year. But he can play, man. He can play. Like I only saw Ohio State twice, and he had big catches in both those games.
Yeah, and he's in a crowded receiver room too.
I don't know. Mac Hollins could be a sleeper in the Buffalo room. Nicole
Mikel
Hardman.
Hardman
How
is
come
always-
Hardman played great in the Super Bowl? He caught that bomb, and then
A winning touchdown.
yeah, and maybe he starts to build some confidence in there. I think we're really gambling at this point. Treylon Burks was a number one pick. We got another pick here. Anybody? Who do you like?
Yep. Yeah, I don't hate the Burks pick. He's not been able to stay on the field though, at all.
Yeah, and they brought in Calvin Ridley, but we'll take a flyer on Burks. At
Yeah.
this point, these are just flyers.
Y'all excited to have another Frank Gore in the league?
Yeah, right. I feel like the other Gore just retired a couple
2 years ago, my buddy and I were talking about it. He was 2 years away from playing with his son
Wow.
at the same time. That's insane.
I just think of him with that YouTube video. Like that's the only reason I know who he is. He has a YouTube video about his yelling at his aunt or something. Super stupid.
What Frank Gore Jr. does?
Yeah, you gotta. He told his aunt to chill, like on live TV, and the aunt was going crazy. It's actually pretty funny.
Oh wow.
The Chiefs just traded L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans
Oh,
Look at the
Ooh.
Titans, man. The Titans are
what?
making moves.
for a 2025 third round pick.
so they just
Wow.
they franchised them to trade him.
Yeah.
hmm
Osborne was the guy in the Vikings, right? I'm trying to remember who he
Yeah.
is. That name
He was
sounds
the third
familiar.
guy in Minnesota.
That's going to free up a lot of money for Kansas City. That's Dallas's problem. They don't have any money. It's not like they're sitting by,
Absolutely,
not doing anything. They just don't have any money.
absolutely, and not get calls every day. What are you guys doing? Like, what can we do? Like, we.
And the only way
The
they can
salary
get
cap.
the only way they can get more money is to add 2 more years on to Dak, and I'm not sure that that's a smart move either.
Was he any good, Jeremiah, or no? I'm just
Who was that?
surprised I recognize the name. KJ Osborne.
Well, hey, man, he was a decent third guy up there. I got a friend who's a Vikings fan, so
Okay.
He was on my sleeper list last year, and then he got his chance to play when Jefferson got hurt. It
Yeah.
didn't really do much.
TCU game's close, by the way.
Yeah,
23-22.
James Madison's up 13 at half against Wisconsin too.
Wow.
I hate that they have Taysom Hill listed as a quarterback here.
Yeah. Last year we were able to play him at tight end. They have him as a quarterback here.
I wonder if they'll count his tight end stuff too. Like if he's the top scoring tight end.
Well, yeah, but now he's in the court. If once you classify him as a quarterback, his overall numbers won't be worth playing.
Yeah.
But
Right.
last year he was classified as a tight end, and they would count his passing numbers, and sometimes he'd have big weeks.
Maybe they'll change that because I want to say year before last they changed his position, but it's something on an injury note would have to happen. It won't.
You're not supposed to do that, because if a manager drafts someone for a position, it's not fair to change that mid-season. I don't know how far back you guys go, but I lived through Cordell Stewart days when he was slashed. He was a receiver as their starting quarterback. So it was like whoever's fantasy team he was on got to play two starting quarterbacks that whole year. It was insane. All right, so we finished up the draft here. Let's kind of look at some of these late round picks here. And oops, how do we get back to that?
If J.K. Dobbins stays healthy, that was a good pick.
Yeah, what do you think of Dobbins? I mean, he's probably going to go to a new team, right?
Mhm.
There's a highlight of him running in a straight line in a game, and it was the slowest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I don't have any faith in him, to be honest with you.
He is pretty slow.
He's just the injuries he's had are just so crucial in a market of or a position where like it's just so in and out. Like I just don't think he's gonna be in the league much longer.
It's hard to be good on fantasy on the Ravens.
Yeah.
Honestly, like they literally only have Lamar. It's kind of crazy.
So whenever I finish a draft, I like to kind of look through, especially the end of it, and just see who other people are taking, just to get a good, possibly learn some sleepers from this. This draft ended down here at Hayden Hurst. Malik Washington is a rookie. I think he's from USC. And Brendan Rice is the higher touted. That's Jerry Rice's son from USC. But I actually like Malik Washington better. A.T. Perry, does anybody know anything about him?
No.
Yeah, I took a flyer on him. I know his name came up a little bit. Obviously love playing with him on Madden. He's my Madden guy whenever we do a fantasy draft start point. But yeah, I think he has talent. I just don't know who in New Orleans is going to catch balls. And so because it's so up in the air, I think he has a chance to carve out a little bit. I think he was in Minnesota not too long ago, wasn't
last
he?
year he was on the Saints. And he started the last game of the season and scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, maybe if he gets playing time, this guy could score, right? So I think he's a really good flyer to look at in the later. Someone's got to be the number 2 receiver there.
Yeah.
Clearly Olav is the starter, but who's the number 2 there? Rashid, maybe. Maybe this A.T. Perry.
Yeah, I've heard a bunch about Shaheed because Shaheed's also been with the team longer, I think.
I like
1 or 2
Sam
years
Howell.
longer.
I think Howell's going to win the starting job in Seattle and make them better. So I like him. Let's see, Madison. He just signed somewhere, right?
Yeah, Las Vegas. I think last season they said that Zamir White was going to get a lot of carries and then just didn't get any at all. So I think they'll give Madison a shot there.
Yeah, I think he's worth a flyer there. If nothing else, he'll be the 3rd down back, which is good for. I don't think Zamir White can play 3rd downs. Trey Palmer, I watched every Bucks game last year, and he could play, man. I like him a lot. I was hoping they'd get rid of Chris Godwin and Palmer would start and be like one of my sleepers, but they re-signed Godwin. Palmer was the guy who scored, and when they beat the Eagles, he scored the touchdown. He had an awesome breakaway play. So I'm taking him in dynasty leagues, and let's see who else is in here. I don't like Elijah Moore anymore now that he's fallen down the depth chart, right? They brought in Judy. This guy, what do you know about him, Jeremiah? Isavisis? If they trade T. Higgins, is this guy going to play for the Bengals?
Hey, he was really picking up a lot of steam towards the end of last year when Joe got hurt, and then when Jake Browning came in. He seemed like a decent guy, especially not knowing what's going to happen with T and or Tyler Boyd. That's definitely someone worth taking a flyer on.
Yeah, although I think they'll draft a receiver if they trade T. Jalen Polk is a rookie. I don't know if anybody has a take on him. I don't know much about him.
He was good at Washington this past year, but I
Mhm.
don't know much about him outside of that.
Burton,
Rondell Moore was supposed to be like unbelievable. I don't know if he ever did anything though.
yeah, everybody loved him coming out of Purdue, and
Mhm.
he's been a complete bust. But he's also been on Arizona.
Yeah.
I think he's going now to Atlanta. Kirk Cousins always, had two receivers put up good numbers. So if he's the number 2 guy there, then he could put up some decent numbers.
What
And
are
then
these?
Will Shipley. He was at Clemson. Is he a rookie? Or
Will
is
Shipley, he's in this year's draft.
okay. From Clemson, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he'll make it in the NFL. I
He's
mean,
small, but
he was a 5-star recruit out of high school, but didn't have a great college career, in my opinion.
mhm.
I don't think Damian Pierce, we've heard our Houston friends talk about how he just doesn't fit into the new system. It was a different coaching staff and system, different blocking scheme. His rookie year, he was great. And now he's not going to fit in there. I wonder, if the Cowboys could get him for like a 5th-round pick or 6th-round pick, like he was good his rookie year, and just needs to be in the right system. So I think
Is Madison gonna be the starter?
for
The Ravens? I cannot name another. I don't know who the running backs are there.
I thought he was with the Raiders.
yeah, Madison's on the Raiders now.
Who's the running back on that team now?
Zamir White
For the
and
Yeah, White.
Alexander Madison are on the Raiders.
Okay. Kazimir White.
for the Ravens have Derrick Henry now.
No, Raiders.
Oh, Raiders.
I knew they lost Josh Jacobs. I had no idea who they had now.
Yeah.
Man, you really had to pay attention this year.
Yeah, there was a lot of player movement. And
Yeah.
they'll probably draft a running back to the Raiders. Audric Estime, he had a great college career. His combine was supposedly horrendous. But he's Notre Dame's running back. Could be another Kyron Williams if he gets some playing time. AJ Dillon, I think, is a smart pick. Whoever backs up Jacobs, he just sucked last year. I really hope the Packers draft if the Packers draft a running back, I would take that guy instead of Dillon.
Thanks for jinxing me. Appreciate it. Thanks.
For both of us, yeah. Dang.
Well, Jacobs is the clear starter. I love Jacobs, as a starter.
Well, and since the year he was playing on the contract year, I mean, obviously he was miraculously healthy that whole year. But any other year he's just not. So I'm banking on that so I can get some Dylan time in there.
And on the running back stuff, I heard a take that all the running backs are now fighting back against the NFL because they're losing value left and right. And so they're like, okay, I'm going to go play for your rival.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's been so interesting seeing that happen and play out.
They need
It's
to
really
unionize.
You guys buy the fact that Fields isn't gonna play? Do you think they're actually gonna stick with Wilson for a while? Or what's going on there?
Well,
Do you really?
the commitment I heard was Russell was promised the starting job, but this is Mike Tomlin we're talking about here. So
I know it's tough
because he was promised the starting job does not mean he will end the season as the starting quarterback. So
Mhm.
the plan, as it's been told, as I've read it, is we're gonna go with Russell, and Justin understands he's gonna be the backup, but be ready.
They're gonna have to give up a lot more if he plays, right? Like the way the trade was set up, I think.
It's not that much more. I think it goes from a 6th to a 4th-round pick,
It's
something
not
like
bad.
that.
It
But
goes
he has to play
fourth round,
51% of the snaps this year for them to get that.
Okay.
I heard a rumor they were thinking about doing, they had some 2 QB system in the work between Fields and Wilson, some wildcat formation, something like that.
Right.
We'll see, but
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, that'd be really bad for Najee Harris, right? And if the goal line carries start going to Fields.
And anybody that has Jalen Warren as well, because he gets the ball a lot in the red zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Fields. I think he'll be starting by the end of the year for sure. And that's like perfect fantasy time to have a good a good running back like him. But he went too high in this draft. Like if he's there in the late rounds, I would look at him. But this draft, I feel like he went too high. Does anybody think Bryce Young is going to start to develop at all? It can't get any worse, right?
I mean, he's fast.
Yep.
That's always helpful in fantasy.
They got up another weapon, Deontay Johnson. That just seems like an organization that's a mess, though.
It's just the NFC South. Like NFC South is the absolute dungeon when it comes to fantasy, I think.
Yeah.
There are some guys who put up numbers, but every year it's a crapshoot when it comes to who's going to be the team of the year, right? Like it's been Tampa Bay for a little bit, and they put up some good numbers, but
Yeah.
who knows?
I still think it's going to be Atlanta, but just being down in Carolina and watching Bryce Young run for his life as soon as the ball is snapped, literally the whole season. They did get a little offensive line help. They got some defensive line help. I don't think it's going to help much, but a lot of dink and dumps. So count on Miles Sanders and the running backs to probably get the most production. It's not him per se. It's just they just don't have enough to keep him from running for his life. But it should be a little better than last year. So
I know it's just in college, but what him and Gibbs did was unbelievable. They had nobody else at Alabama. Those two had one of the best like 1-2 punches I've seen in a long time. It was kind of a weird year for Alabama. They were missing a lot of guys, and Bryce Young and Gibbs got them to win a lot of games.
And much respect to Adam Thielen, but he's 105. So when he's your best receiver on the team, that was the issue with them last year. I mean, he's a 5-and-out guy. He can get you some yards, some touchdowns on occasion, but Bryce Young was depending on him like he was 25. So
Well, they brought in Deontay, didn't they?
They did.
So I
I think that'll help.
Yeah. Thielen's a good number 2. I mean, you go back to what he was doing with Diggs, with Diggs back in where was it?
Minnesota, yeah. But
Yeah.
that's when he was in his prime. I mean, he's a little long in the tooth now.
Yeah, that was a generation ago.
I think last year, was probably his last year. I've been avoiding Thielen. I like these other guys that you guys took better than Thielen. I like Zay Jones, Bateman we talked about. These guys all have upside.
There's petitions. They want the Carolina Panthers owner to sell the team, and he's rather arrogant, and
didn't he just buy him? He hasn't even been there that long.
Well, remember last year he like threw a drink on a fan or something to that effect.
What a dick.
Yeah, it's like, look, dude, I'm already paying $1 gazillion to come to watch the Panthers get stomped, and you gonna throw a drink on me? So
there was a game last year the Panthers played. Me and my buddies looked up. The tickets were going for $2. I believe they played the Falcons. I'm like, man, we should go out there and watch an NFL game for $2.
Game. It was empty, man. I went to that game. The Hornets are just as bad. I went to a few Panthers games this year. They were fun.
My uncle actually has an apartment that overlooks the Panthers stadium, and he's like, I never look out my window from September until December.
Fun fact, I am moving to Detroit in May. Just closed on a house. I'm going to be 6 minutes from the Lions. I am just like so ridiculously happy that I'm going to be in a real football town. And I'm talking about the Lions here, like they've been like traditionally good, but I think they're in the right direction, and I can't wait. I got tickets on deck. I'm mad because I thought I was going to close on the house earlier, and I thought I was going to be able to go to the draft, but it didn't work out. But
so you're adopting a new team? You're going to be a Lions fan now?
Listen, I have no way to prove it, but I told everybody who Armand St. Brown was going to be way before it was a thing. And Michiganders, they're not real Lions fans. They know they have heartbreak in them. I was like, look, this is not your daddy's Lions, okay? This is a whole new organization. And I could not convince them of that. Now all of a sudden, Lions! And it's like, oh, you're a Lions fan now. So the town is just going crazy right now. The property values are going up, and people move. I mean, having a good football team can literally change your city. So
true.
it's awesome. The vibe is great. Now we just need Coach Hulk Hogan to stop going for it on 4th and 3s, and we'll be fine. So.
Good luck
Yeah.
with that Sunday traffic.
Oh, I literally live next to the house is next to what they call the queue line. You just hop on it and it takes you there in 6 minutes. I'm not driving it. Mm-mm.
Well, so you
Okay.
watched St. Brown back in his USC days.
Yeah.
Then you know who the stud receiver was on that team because it wasn't St. Brown, right? Those years, it was Drake London those years,
Right.
man.
Right.
And that's going to be really interesting. He's been going. He fell a little bit in our draft, but he's been going like mid-second round, which to me is crazy for somebody who's unproven to take him above Devontae Adams or Mike Evans or Brandon Ayuk. Like, really, you're going to bet your whole team on Drake London? But people remember him from USC, man. He was like the bomb, right?
My man crush for St. Brown came during the Hard Knocks, and just to see him with that chip on his shoulder, and he could literally named everybody that was drafted before him, and he memorized it. See, you can jump high and run your little 40s and all that other stuff, but you have to know somebody's heart. And you could tell he was really offended by a lot of the people that got taken before him. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is about to be. Because he has the talent and he has that drive. And then when you add the pieces that they've been adding, I was kind of hoping my relative was going to go to Lions, but I can't release that information. But I don't think he's going there. But
All right.
it,
I
it
need
might
you guys to go ahead.
it might be black, it might be yellow.
Yeah, I think St. Brown on my board, I have him as my number 3 overall player right now. If I have picks after, I mean, CD was amazing last year, but after that, I want a receiver. I don't Tyreek is getting old. I don't trust everything there we talked about. Jamar has had a lot of injuries. Burrow seems to be have his injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson, we don't even know who the quarterback is. Like, Amon is young. He doesn't get hurt. He's quarterbacking is stable. It's a team that's on the rise. Like, I love Brown. If you're looking for a stable pick,
I think I agree with you
I
guys.
make the case for Brown as a number 3 overall.
Number
I
2
think that's
receiver.
crazy, or you think you have to take Jamar or Tyreek? They have higher ceilings supposedly, but St. Brown's been steadily rising every year.
Well, I tell you why I'm never taking Jefferson, because last year when he got hurt, he said, I don't care about your fantasy. He shouldn't, but I'm not taking him. So he had a chance to come back. I think he was down, like 7 or 8 games. He had a chance to come back in like 4. And he's like, look, I'm not concerned about your fantasy. I'm trying to get healthy. So from a fantasy perspective, I'm just not going to take him.
Well,
So
his team was trying to make the playoffs, though. His team, they were on the, he doesn't care about that either.
So I would rather have St. Brown because he just doesn't have a history of injury and he's a little younger.
He has a quarterback.
Right, 100%. So just for that reason, I would rather have St. Brown.
Gotcha.
I don't think Goff has ever missed a game that I can remember either. Like, he's a very stable, durable quarterback, and there's no second receiver in there who's going to take anything from him. Addison is an interesting number 2 in Minnesota. On the one hand, Addison had a great rookie year because Jefferson was out. So maybe you think Addison's numbers are inflated because of that. But I think Addison is a baller. I mean, Caleb Williams, his junior year with Addison looked amazing. This year, Caleb Williams, I'm not so sure.
Right. And don't be surprised if maybe Jefferson gets traded. I mean, the only reason they would keep him is ticket sales. Otherwise, it seems like they're in a rebuild, and he's really not going to like that. So he has nobody to pass him the ball. They don't really have a great running game. He's just going to be there just collecting stats. So wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is not your daddy's NFL. I keep saying it because back in the day, I'm a little older than I look. Guys would get on teams and they would stay there. They don't do that now. It has an NBA-ish type of feel to it now. Like, as soon as players start saying, "Hey, this is not the situation I want to be in," they get like NBA players now, and they're ready to go. So do not be surprised if Justin Jefferson's on another team.
Yeah.
Chargers. We said it earlier. The Chargers. Sneaky. It would be interesting. I think him and Herbert would have quite some fun.
Ooh,
Absolutely. But
that
if they
would be
do keep him,
scary.
it'll be ticket sales, I think.
But and I think Sam Darnold, I think they can compete in that division with Sam Darnold. You know, it'll be the Bears with Caleb Williams, right? It'll be Detroit and Green Bay. I think they can compete for the wild card with Sam Darnold, and they'll try that for a year. While whoever they draft, I don't think will play at all if they draft a quarterback. So, well, the TCU game just went to halftime. They are rolling. Anything you're seeing in your home team there? Are they?
Yeah, it's tough. I haven't been able to keep watching the game, so I don't know exactly what the feel is for it. But 6 down's not terrible. I've seen us come back from worse, and we also have a tendency to draw games out. So we'll see what happens. I think we'll end up, honestly, I'm looking at an OT right here. 6 down, I think that we'll end up in an OT, which will just be brutal, but
That'd be great for my over. I think they're going to get it anyways without this. So, and on that note, I think we'll wrap up tonight's show. But this has been awesome fun doing the underdog draft. Do me a favor, everyone who's here, shoot me a text with your full name, just so I can officially save you in my contact. And in the contact, I'll put down that you were here. This helps me to stay organized, to have everyone who was here, numbers at the top of my inbox.
I need to hear who everyone's on tomorrow. There's like 20 grand riding on this.
On your
Arizona,
pool?
Will.
Yeah, on my
Arizona,
pool.
buddy.
Arizona. Okay, Greg, what do
I'm
you
telling
think?
you.
Yeah,
I
go
don't
with the
think they're
safest
gonna
pick.
go
If you
for it.
think they're the safest pick, I wouldn't save it for later.
yeah, I'd say
Copy.
Arizona. There's plenty of teams. You're going to have plenty
Nobody
of teams to
trusts
take from.
NC State.
Tennessee.
I wouldn't.
Tennessee is another good one.
Ooh, who do they play?
Texas.
I actually had Texas beating them in my bracket. All right, I think I just gotta go Arizona.
All right, sounds good. Enjoy the games this weekend, guys. I'll see you again soon.
Thanks.
See y'all.